Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Once again, we welcome you all to our Krishna Africa platform for today. Today is the 11th day of the month of December, the year 2023. Welcome back to the Hare Krishna Africa platform. Today, we are honored to have our own person, host, His Grace SAHADEVA Prabhu, who is going to be taking the Srimad Bhagavatam class today. Srimad SAHADEVA Prabhu does not need an introduction. Srimad SAHADEVA Prabhu, you're welcome to our Krishna Africa platform, to your own home.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So,
am I audible? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you clearly.
Okay. Hare Krishna.
Good. So, if you're ready, I'll put the verse on the screen, and we can start.
Okay, please.
Hare Krishna.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayat Nashtaprayashu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavayate Naishtiki. Nama Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Tirtha Swamin Etnamine Namaste Krishna Padaya Prabhupada Ashtatatmane Shri Gaura Karana Shakti Bhakti Tiktetnamine Nama Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Etnamine Namaste Saraswati Devi Guravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavada Pastatari Shikari. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Pura Bhakta. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 7, text number 23. And we have it on the board. So I'll be reading the Sanskrit. I will read the synonyms, the translation, the purport, and I'll try to give my little understanding on the text. Hare Krishna. Asmat prashada sumukha kalaya kalisha Ikshakuvamsha avatriya guruni deshe Tishtanvanam sadayetanuja avivesha Yasmin virudya dasakandara artim archat. Asmat prasada sumukha kalaya kalisha Ikshakuvamsha avatriya guruni deshe Tishtanvanam sadayetanuja avivesha Yasmin virudya dashakandara artim arjat. Asmat prasada sumukha kalaya kalisha Ikshakuvamsha avatriya guruni deshe Tishtanvanam sadayetanuja avivesha Yasmin virudya dasakandara artim archat. Synonyms. Asmat, unto us, beginning from Brahma down to the insignificant end. Prashada, causeless mercy. Sumukha, so inclined. Kalaya, with his plenary extensions. Kaleshaha, the Lord of all potencies. Ikshwaku, Maharaj Ikshwaku in the dynasty of the sun. Vamshe, family. Avatiriya, by descending in. Guru, of the father or spiritual master. Nidashe, under the order of. Tishtan, being situated in. Vanam, in the forest. Sadayita Anujaha, along with his wife and younger brother. Avivesha entered. Yasmin, unto whom? Virudia, being rebellious. Dasha Kandaraha, Ravan, who had 10 heads. Artim, great distress. Archat, achieved. Translation and purport by Jagat Guru Param Guru A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation: due to his causeless mercy. This his represents Krishna. Due to the causeless mercy of the Supreme Lord upon all living entities within the universe, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, along with his plenary extensions, appeared in the family of Maharaj Ikshwaku as the Lord of his internal potency, Sita. Under the order of his father, Maharaj Dasharath, he entered the forest and lived there for considerable years with his wife and younger brother. Ravana, who was very materially powerful with 10 heads on his shoulders, committed a great offense against him and was thus ultimately vanquished. Purport: Lord Ram is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and his brothers, namely Bharat, Lakshman, and Shatrugna, are his plenary expansions. All 4 brothers are Vishnu Tattva and were never ordinary human beings. There are many unscrupulous and ignorant commentators on Ramayana who present the younger brothers of Lord Ramachandra as ordinary living entities. But here in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the most authentic scripture on the science of Godhead, it is clearly stated that his brothers were his plenary expansions. Originally, Lord Ramachandra is the incarnation of Vasudeva. Lakshman is the incarnation of Shankarshan. Bharat is the incarnation of Pradyumna. And Shatrugna is the incarnation of Aniruddha, expansions of the personality of Godhead. Lakshmiji Sita is the internal potency of the Lord and is neither an ordinary woman nor the external potency incarnation of Durga. Durga is the external potency of the Lord, and she is associated with Lord Shiva. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita 4:7, the Lord appears when there are discrepancies in the discharge of factual religion. Lord Ramachandra also appeared under the same circumstances, accompanied by his brothers, who are expansions of the Lord's internal potency, and by Lakshmiji Sita Devi. Lord Ramachandra was ordered by his father Maharaj Dasharath to leave home for the forest under awkward circumstances, and the Lord, as the ideal son of his father, carried out the order, even on the occasion of his being declared the king of Ayodhya. One of his younger brothers, Lakshmanji, desired to go with him, and so also his eternal wife, Sitaji, desired to go with him. The Lord agreed to both of them, and all together they entered the Dandakaranya forest to live there for 14 years. During their stay in the forest, there was some quarrel between Ramachandra and Ravan, and the latter kidnapped the Lord's wife, Sita. The quarrel ended in the vanquishing of the greatly powerful Ravana, along with all his kingdom and family. Sita is Lakshmiji, or the goddess of fortune, but she is never to be enjoyed by any living being. She is meant for being worshipped by the living being along with her husband, Sri Ramachandra. A materialistic man like Ravana does not understand this great truth, but on the contrary, he wants to snatch Sita Devi from the custody of Ram, and thus incurs great miseries. The materialists who are after opulence and material prosperity may take lessons from the Ramayana that the policy of exploiting the nature of the Lord without acknowledging the supremacy of the Supreme Lord is the policy of Ravana. Ravana was very advanced materially, so much so that he turned his kingdom, Lanka, into pure gold or full material wealth. But because he did not recognize the supremacy of Lord Ramachandra and defied him by stealing his wife, Sita, Ravana was killed, and all his opulence and power were destroyed. Lord Ramachandra is a full incarnation with 6 opulences in full, and he is therefore mentioned in this verse as Kaleshaha, or master of all opulences. Hare Krishna. Om Ajana Tibrandasya Jana Jana Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Mano Bishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Soyam Rupa Katama Yam Tadati Swapadantikam. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Tirtha Swamin Etinamine Namaste Krishna Padaya Prabhupada Statat Mani Shri Guru Karuna Shakti Bhakti Tirtha Namine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Etinamine Namaste Saraswati Devi Guru Ravani Pracharini Nirvashesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Shatarine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Namo mahavadanyaya Krishna prema pratayate Krishnaya Krishna chaitanya namne gora tvishe namaha. Nama brahmanya devayago brahmana hitaya cha jagatitaya Krishnaya govindaya namo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadatahara Shri Vasadi Gora Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, dear devotees, we thank you all for being here. It's an honor and a privilege to have the opportunity to perform the role of Srila Vyasadeva, the compiler of the Vedic literatures. Anytime anybody speaks from any of the scriptures, it is said that that individual sits in a particular seat, and this seat is called Vyasasan. Asan is a seat, and Vyasa is Srila Vyasadeva. So one is sitting in the seat of Srila Vyasadeva. And of course, we all know that we are unqualified, we are incompetent, but it is a service, and we joyfully accept to render this service, overlooking our imperfections. Because from such imperfections, perfection will come. So this particular chapter deals with specific incarnations of the Lord and their specific purposes. So today we are dealing with Sri Ramachandra. Sri Ramachandra is the seventh avatar of the Dasa avatar of Shri Krishna. The sixth is Parashuram, which was discussed last week, Friday. And today is Sri Ramachandra, who is the seventh. So what was the purpose of Sri Ramachandra's descent? The purpose is very simple, but it's very difficult and almost rare to find. It's almost impossible to find it anywhere. Because in this world, we have two aspects regarding this world. One aspect is that we look and live in the real world. And then the second aspect is ideal world. And the ideal world is oftentimes referred to as utopian. In other words, it's something we dream of, but we don't really live to experience it. But Sri Ramachandra came to live and teach how such an idealism can be practiced. And like I said, talk is cheap, and it's always easier said than done. So even though the Supreme Lord is the Supreme Lord and no one can imitate his activities, but the Supreme Lord comes to perform activities that devotees can learn from such activities and try to mold their own lives after such lifestyle. So Srila Prabhupada in his purport quoted Bhagavad Gita chapter 4, text 7, which is yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata bhutanam adharmasya tadatmana shigami aham. Whenever and wherever there is decline of religious principles, at that time the Supreme Lord descends himself. And this himself is a very key word. There are many times the Supreme Lord may send other devotees of himself, other empowered demigods, other empowered personalities to come into different worlds, into different universes, to try to correct the situation from irreligiosity to religiosity. And then comes at certain times where the Supreme Lord himself appears. And sometimes when we say, as devotees, when we say to people that God himself appeared in this material world, people begin to doubt and wonder, how can the Lord come into this world? Which in the first place makes no sense. Because if we accept that God is the supreme authority and he owns this world, and everything in and out of this world, beyond this world, then how do we conclude that he cannot come here? And a similar scenario is given in the Bible. I don't remember the text, but Jesus Christ was talking about the vineyard, where a very rich man had a vineyard. He had workers who were working in the field, and he had his own sons working together with his laborers. And the laborers, they catch these sons of the landowner, and they kill him, up to the point that the owner himself will have to come to the vineyard and discipline all these laborers. So it's an allegorical story given by Lord Jesus Christ to indicate that the Lord from time to time sent his prophets, his messiahs, his messengers, his empowered souls to come and help liberate the conditioned souls. And what do? We catch them, we kill them for no reason. And then it gets to a point that the Lord himself comes. So just like when the Supreme Lord had to appear as the Son, oh, thank you for putting that up. Okay. Just like when the Supreme Lord decided to appear as the son of Devaki and Vasudeva, because Mother Bhumi had appealed to Lord Brahma, that she is going through so much turbulence due to the atrocities human beings are committing on earth. We should understand that there are so many loving entities in this world. And out of the many loving entities in this world, there is none that disturb Mother Bhumi as human beings. So in this same example, like Srila Prabhupada indicated in this paper that made him quote Bhagavad Gita 4:7, Srila Prabhupada indicates that it is with the same understanding, the same concern that Lord Ramachandra appeared. Mother Bhumi, who was going through so much trouble, approached Indra and complained to Indra all the turmoils, all the difficulties she was going through because of all the atrocities that these demons were committing. And who was the head of these demons? That was Ravana. And Ravana was not committing these atrocities all by himself. He also had companions. He had other people who were joining him in committing all these atrocities, many asuras. So when Mother Bhumi approached Lord Indra said, well, this is beyond me. I cannot handle it. So let's go to Lord Brahma. So they both went to Lord Brahma, and Lord Indra put forth Mother Bhumi's concern to Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma said, this is too much for me. I cannot handle this Ravana by myself. So let's approach Lord Shiva. Then they approached Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva listened to the plea and the concern, and Lord Shiva also said, I think the appropriate thing to do is to approach the Supreme Lord. So let's approach Lord Vishnu. So they approached Lord Vishnu, Mahavishnu. And when they approached Mahavishnu, Mahavishnu said, don't worry. Don't worry. I have already decided to descend in this Bhumi on the earth planet. So all you devas, my servants, you all first go take birth on the land of Bhumi, and then I will come. So the Lord, with his expansions, did truly appear. And how did the Lord appear? The Lord appeared through Dasharatha. Dasharatha was an outstanding king in Ayodhya. And the Puranas describe how Dasharatha came to be. In fact, Dasharatha is like a nickname that was given to him by Lord Brahma. His real name is Nemi, which is different from Nimi, King Nimi, is different. Dasarath's real name was Nemi, but he got this name Dasarath because this Nemi was so powerful that even though he was an earthling being, once there was a war between the demons and the demigods, and Dasarath had to go to the higher realms belonging to demigods to support the demigods in fighting against the demons. So when Dasarath, before then, Nemi, who had 3 wives, and let me see how I can put these dots together to make sense. This Dasarath had a daughter with his first wife. His first wife was Kaushalya. And after a long time, he was not able to have a child with Kaushalya. So he took another wife. But even before he took another wife, Dasarath had a very, very close friend called Loma Harsan, who also was not able to have a child. So he came to plead with Dasarath to give his daughter to him as a foster daughter. And Dasarath obliged. So Dasarath gave his only child, who was a daughter, to his friend, Loma Harsan. And this Loma Harsan also gave this foster daughter to a great sage as a wife. And after a while, when this Dasarath was unable to have any child with his wife, Kaushalya, then Dasarath decided to have a second wife. So he had a second wife called Kaikeyi. So this Kaikeyi, together with Kaushalya, both couldn't have child. So it became a problem. So Dasarath, at the time called Nemi, decided to have another wife. And this wife was Sumantra. So Dasarath had 3 wives: Kaushalya, Kaikeyi, and Sumantra. So when this adopted or say fostered daughter was given in to this sage's name was, no, I can't think of the name. It starts with R. Rishya Shringa. Yes. So after he had, Dasarath had all these 3 wives and still was unable to have a son or a child, he decided, okay, I'm going to leave this kingdom and go to the forest. And he went to the forest, he built a cottage, and then installed the deity of Mahavishnu and started worshiping Mahavishnu. All for what? All for a son. Because for a Kshatriya, it is very, very important to have a son to inherit your kingdom and continue the lineage of your dynasty. So Lord Ramachandra appeared through Dasarath. And how did that happen? Before even Lord Ramachandra took birth, there was this war between the demons and the demigods. And Dasarath, or at the time Nemi, went to the domain of the demigods and fought on the side of the demigods. And he had his chariot that was moving at the speed of the mind, actually much faster than the speed of the mind, and was fighting against these demons. But this Dasarath, when he went to the demigod's kingdom, he did not go by himself. He went with one of the wives, and that was Kaikeyi. And so during the battle, there was a point in time that his chariot was weakened. One of the wheels was coming off. And this Kaikeyi used her thumb as a bolt to prevent the chariot from falling out. And she did not tell anybody. Nobody knew about it. But after the war, then Nemi saw what had happened. And he became so indebted to his wife, Kaikeyi, that due to her help, he did not lose the battle. So after the battle, he came back on earth and performed his tapasya. Then he was advised by Vashishta, because Vashishta was the family guru, that I know one saint who is called Rishya Shringa. I think if you approach him to perform a yagya for you, you might be able to have child. So the story goes that Maharaj Dasarath, the reason why he got the Dasarath was because there was a demon called Sambar, and this Sambar expanded himself into 10 different forms in all the 10 different directions. And this Sambar was killed by Dasarath, because Dasarath was able to kill these 10 manifestations or expansions of Sambara in 10 different directions at the same time. And so Ratha means, like we perform Lord Jagannath Ratha Yatra, it's a cart. And then Dasa means 10. So Lord Brahma gave this title to King Nemi, that because you've been able to defeat Sambara in all 10 directions at the same time, you are called Dasarath. So his real name, Nemi, actually got lost, and he came to be known popularly as Dasarath. So this Dasarath, when they approached Rishya Shringa to perform this sacrifice, it was impossible for Rishya Shringa to say no, because he is now the son-in-law of Dasarath. And it's very interesting how Dasarath's friend came to ask for his only child, daughter, as a foster daughter. And Maharaj Dasarath complied. He obliged. And excuse me, this particular person gave this daughter as a son, sorry, as a wife to Rishya Shringa. And when Vashishta was approached, even though Vashishta, we all know Vashishta is one of the great sages ever, he said, no, I cannot perform this, but I know somebody who can perform this. And so they go to Rishya Shringa, and the Rishya Shringa performs the sacrifice. The sacrifice is called Putra something. It's a special sacrifice to have the ability, the opportunity to have a son. So when the sacrifice was performed, a divine being came out of the fire of sacrifice with a pot of nectar. And this nectar was given to Rishashringa. Rishashringa told Nami what to do. He says, divide this amongst your wives. So he divided it into two halves, one for Kaushalya, one for Kaikeyi, which means that Sumantra had none. But Kaikeyi divided hers into two halves and gave half to Sumantra. And Kaushalya divided hers into two halves and gave half to Sumantra. So in time, Kaushalya had a son. And that son was Lord Ram. And then after that, Kaikeyi also had a son. And that son was Bharat. And Sumantra, who had half from each of Kaikeyi and Kaushalya, had two sons, Lakshman and Shatrughna. But as they were growing up, Lakshman and Ramachandra became very close brothers. And then Bharat and Shatrughna also became very close. Now, Srila Prabhupada says in the purport that there are so many unscrupulous and unintelligent rascals who accept that Lord Ramachandra is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but his brothers are ordinary human beings. They are ordinary jivas. And Srila Prabhupada chastises these unscrupulous people that that is never true. All four are expansions of the Supreme Lord himself. Krishna came as Lord Ramachandra, and Bharat, Lakshman, Shatrughna are all the plenary expansions of the Chaturvyuha expansions of the Supreme Lord. So they are all Vishnu Tattvas. And what did they do? Lord Ramachandra had to be banished to go live in the forest for 14 years. And for those 14 years, when he came back, for those 14 years, he had to fight and kill all the demons. When he came back from this battle, he assumed the role of being the king. Now, there is a very long history behind why Dasharatha had to lose his dearmost son. And from that distress, he passed away. He left his body. King Dasharatha left his body because he could not withstand the separation of his dearmost son, Lord Ramachandra, being banished to go to the forest. And so Lord Ramachandra, being the Supreme Personality of Godhead, when he appeared, he had to deal with these demoniac beings that were tormenting the entire world. What was Ravana doing? Ravana was killing children. He was capturing women and abusing women. He was looking for those who were performing the devotional service, who were performing any sort of service to Guru and Krishna, and was punishing them and killing them in numbers. Anyone who was trying to do anything good in this world will be killed by Ravana. And so it became intolerable up to the point that it was impossible for any Jivaratma to kill this demon. The only way this demon can be finished was the Supreme Lord himself. And therefore, the Lord himself appeared as Lord Ramachandra with his associates to get rid of this demon, to re-establish true religious principles. And initially, I had said that this particular incarnation is an incarnation of idealism, because Lord Ramachandra didn't have to go to the forest. And even when he went to the forest and his wife was kidnapped, he didn't have to struggle to go search for his wife. He could have looked for another woman. After all, he was the king. He was the king. Because this capturing of Sita Devi was something that Lord Ramachandra, of course, could have prevented that, but he let it happen for a reason, because with that capturing, he was going to finish the demoniac race on the entire surface of the Earth planet, which he did so beautifully. And he did that with the help of his associates, just to give them glory. As today, we all see the glories of Sri Hanuman. Sri Hanuman is glorious, and is glorified all because of his service to Lord Ramachandra. And so in the same way, as devotees, we are not seeking for glorification. But as long as one is sincerely trying to render selfless service to Sri Krishna and his devotees, one will automatically be glorified. So this is the lesson we all can learn, that there are some fights that are beyond us. We cannot fight those fights. We have to seek a superior help. And even after we've sought the help of the superior help, if the superior person also understands that this is beyond me, then you have to go to the appropriate source of support. And that ultimately ends up with the Supreme Lord himself. But one should not simply just jump over everybody and go straight to the Supreme Lord. This is another lesson we all have to learn. This is called a chain of command. In other words, if I have a problem, I have to go through my immediate leader, my immediate boss. And when I go to my immediate boss and tell him my problem, I am done. It is up to that my immediate boss to take care of the problem I have brought before him or her. So in this case, Mother Bhumi approached Indra, Indra approached Lord Brahma approached Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva ultimately approached Lord Vishnu, and Lord Vishnu descended. So these are some of the few lessons we can learn from these pastimes of Sri Ramachandra. And in all incarnations of the Lord, there is none that is more popular, more famous than Sri Ramachandra. Why? Because he lived the life of an ideal human being. We all try to pursue idealism, but we cannot find it in any of the incarnations of the Lord as much as the incarnation of Sri Ramachandra. And therefore, in India in particular, Lord Ramachandra is very much revered over all other incarnations of the Lord, of Sri Krishna. There are worshippers of Krishna, there are worshippers of Lord Shiva, there are worshippers of Ramachandra, but of all, Sri Ramachandra has the most disciples, most devotees, most worshippers. Why? Because he lived the life of true ideal lifestyle. So we all may learn from this, that even though it is not easy to live such an ideal lifestyle, but it is possible. It is possible. If we have principles to live by, we should not under any circumstance forsake our principles for anything else, for adoration, for money, for fame, for whatever. We should not forgo our principles. These are some of the lessons we can learn from this particular Leela of Sri Ramachandra. And with that, I will end here, and I will say if devotees may have questions or comment realizations to this particular text we tried to discuss today. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, His Grace and Srimad Sahadev Prabhu, for the storyline. I am seeing the different aspect of presentation from His Grace Srimad Sahadev Prabhu today.
Oh yeah, sorry. Srimad Vara Prabhu gave me the name of the guest called Putra Kameshti. Yes, Putra Kameshti. Putra Kameshti. Yeah. Thank you so much, Srimad Vara Prabhu.
Yeah, actually, I sent the name.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Yes. Thank you, Salika.
Yeah, it's okay. So, thank you very much for the beautiful narrations. The purpose of all Srimad Bhagavatam class is to hear the transcendental pastimes about the Lord. And that's the whole essence of Bhagavatam, to remind the gross conditioned soul. That is the whole purpose behind Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam was spoken for the purpose of reminding the conditioned soul and to educate for those who does not know these wonderful pastimes of the Lord, which in themselves are the key to liberation and the attainment of the highest goal of life. So thank you very much for telling this beautiful story of the Lord and his pastimes, and how he uses one situation to benefit so many things, so many living entities simultaneously. Thank you very much. So dear devotees, if there are questions or comments, please kindly indicate by raising your hands and ask your question. I'm sure Professor Sahadev Prabhu is very able to answer your question. I send you a private chat, Sahadev Prabhu. Any question or comments, devotees? Well, let me ask one quick question. When you started the lecture, you were telling the story of how the Lord sometimes will emphasizing on the verse quoted by Srila Prabhupada, the purpose why the Lord descended to this material world. 4:7 of Bhagavad Gita, yada was here.
Yeah.
And sometimes he sends a different personality, sometimes he comes himself. And Prabhupada beautifully started the purport to this verse by re-emphasizing, although Prabhupada has stated this same fact many places, Prabhupada re-emphasized that Lord Ramachandra is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And in the nature of Prabhupada, when he has to have a particular focus, he would do that in the beginning and the end. At the end of the purport, Prabhupada went back to what he started with. And that's one uniqueness of Srila Prabhupada, to re-emphasize. He went back and said, Krishna, Lord Ramachandra, is a complete personality. Yeah, it's this full personality of Godhead. So my question now is that Lord Ramachandra, even sometimes in devotees, let me start from the one basic thing. When we fast on a Krishna Janmashtami, we fast 24 hours. But when it comes to Lord Ramachandra, there is always this dichotomy of devotees saying that, okay, we should fast for till noon. Sometimes devotees say we should fast till evening. And one of the justifications given behind that reason is that Lord Ramachandra is an incarnation of Lord Krishna, not Lord Krishna himself. So Prabhupada is explaining differently. So could you give some light on this?
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Yes, this is the beauty of our philosophy, Achintya Beda Abeda Tattva. Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport that Lord Ramachandra is the direct incarnation of Vasudeva, who is one of the Chaturvyuha, And he explains Shankarshan coming as Lakshman, and Bharat also being incarnation of, let me go back. If you can put the verse back on the screen, Srila Prabhupada beautifully explains in the paper.
Yeah, I've given back the host to you. That's.
Oh, you gave it back to me. Okay, let me share that. Let me share. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says all four brothers are Vishnu Tattva. And then he goes on here. Originally, Lord Ramachandra is the incarnation of Vasudeva. Lakshman is the incarnation of Shankarshan. Bharat is the incarnation of Pradyumna. And Shatrughna is the incarnation of Aniruddha, expansions of the personality of Godhead. So these four expansions are expansions of the Godhead. They're expansions of Krishna. And so it is correct to say that Lord Ramachandra is an incarnation of Krishna. He is not Krishna. However, it is also right to say that Lord Ramachandra is Krishna himself, because even though Vasudeva is an incarnation of Krishna, he is not different from Krishna. The difference between these incarnations of the Lord is that Krishna, as we know, as the son of Vasudeva, Devaki, even though we call him Vasudeva Krishna, this Krishna is like, I think last week when His Grace Ishwara Prabhu spoke, he said that this Krishna is not an incarnation. Srila Prabhupada has also said that in many places, because this Krishna is the source, is the fountainhead of all incarnations. So that is also true. But at the same time, even though he is not the fountainhead as Krishna, being the source of all avatars, he is not different from that same source. This is what gets most of us confused, because for us as ordinary human beings, thinking and trying to understand things based on how we relate to things, we cannot seem to understand how a father can become the son and remain the father at the same time. But that is possible in the sense that Lord Krishna is the father of all living entities, yet he becomes the son of his own creature, Vasudeva. So his father and his son at the same time. So yes, Lord Ramachandra is the full-fledged Supreme Lord, like Srila Prabhupada said in the paper. And then his plenary expansions, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, Shankarshan, they all appeared as Bharat, Lakshman, and Shatrughna. So yes, these expansions always want to serve their master. And that is why the expansions were always inclined to serving the Lord. Just like Lord Chaitanya and his expansions. That's why they are called the Pancha Tattva. If they were all not the Supreme Lord, they would have been called Chatu Tattva. But they are all the Supreme Lord. Therefore, they are called Pancha Tattva. However, Sri Advaita understood that there is this task that needs to be done, and I cannot do it except my Lord. Because he, even though he is the Supreme Lord, but he is a plenary expansion because he knows that he has a source, and that source is Lord Chaitanya. So this source should be the one to handle this case. And so that discipline is there. So both are true, but my understanding as to why, as Hare Krishna ISKCON devotees, we do not fast 24 hours on Sri Ram's appearance is because our most loyalty and indebtedness is to Lord Chaitanya and Lord Krishna. Even though we do not worship Lord Ramachandra as much as we do with Sri Krishna, we understand that he is the Supreme Lord. But our acharyas have given us one pointed focus, that is Krishna. And therefore, all our attention and service is geared towards worship of Lord Krishna. That is my little understanding to your beautiful question, Shri Salika Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Sahadev. I want to explore this subject matter a little bit more, but then I have several hands up here. So we will continue discussing. I'm sure maybe some of them must also be thinking in this line of thought. Arishakra Prabhu, please can you unmute and ask a question?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much for your class. The in-depth explanation of the appearance of Lord Ramachandra. My question is, we know that for Krishna to decide to appear as somebody's son, then that person must be a devotee of Krishna. If you are not his real intimate devotee, then it doesn't make sense that Krishna will appear as your son. So for Krishna to appear as the son of Dasa means that Dasa had to be what do you call it, a real devotee of Krishna. Now, Krishna also assures that if you become my devotee, then I fulfill your desire. So sometimes it becomes a little bit bewildering to say that the real devotees of Krishna, they looking for a child, and Krishna knowing definitely that this is my real devotee. Let him struggle of just to get a child. So what my real question is, does this not encourage people from striving to become real devotees of Krishna? Because if even you become his real devotee, you must struggle and you may desire something and not giving able to fulfill it. So what advice do you give up?
Hare Krishna, thank you so much for the beautiful question. You were breaking up, so probably some devotees might not have gotten your question. But Parachakra Prabhu's question is, we all know that the Supreme Lord sometimes appears as a son to somebody. And for the Lord to appear as a son to somebody means that that person must be his devotee. Otherwise, he will not appear as a son to such a person. So if Dasarat has become the father of Krishna, that means that he was a very pure devotee of the Lord. So how come that such a person will have so much difficulty having a child, which he's been praying for, doing anything, everything for, and it was still difficult for him to have one? Wouldn't this be some sort of discouraging to others who would want to serve God? Absolutely. Yes, it can be very discouraging. But it's only discouraging to those who have not yet fully understood Krishna. And as such, they are not true devotees. When I say true devotees are just like what Jesus Christ did. When Jesus Christ was about to crucify, he did not want to be crucified. Nobody wants to be killed in such brutish, painful way. But he said, my Lord, I do not want this to happen to me. But if it is your will, let it be done. So I remember our Guru Dev, His Holiness Baptista Swami Maharaj saying, the greatest prayer in the entire Bible is just this simple phrase, thy will be done. We cannot expect to be devotees of the Lord and dictate to the Lord to do what we want him to do. Then the Lord is no more our Lord. We are our Lord. We are telling him what to do, what not to do. So I remember this statement from the then Kirtanand Maharaj. He used to say that as devotees, we have our plans. And the Supreme Lord, being the Supreme Person, also has his plans. But at the end of the day, it is the Supreme Personality of Godhead's plan that is going to be carried out. So yes, there is one other devotee I listened to sometime also. He's called Sampati. He was speaking one time and he was saying that, do we say, because we are devotees of the Lord, like some of us living in the Western countries where the temperature gets really cold, as it is now, it's very cold. Can we say that, oh, Lord Krishna, we are your devotees. Can you please take away this winter cold weather so we don't face cold? It doesn't work that way. Or in the heat of the summer, everybody is feeling this heat stroke. You say, oh, I am your Lord. I don't want this heat. Take it away from me. No. It is said in the Chaitanya Charitamrita how one day Sri Rupa Goswami was writing his books, and he was writing under a tree. And you know, because in an open area, when you sit under the tree, you get some shade from the sun rays. But because the sun is moving, it gets to a point in time that the tree is no more giving you that shade anymore. So Rupa Goswami was sitting under this tree, getting some shade from the tree and writing his books because the sun was so scorching. And then the sun, as it was moving, now Rupa Goswami had no shade from the tree. And then what happened? It is said that Srimati Radharani herself came and spread her sari over Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami didn't realize, but he did not feel the sun's heat as much as he was because Srimati Radharani came to give her that protection. For Srimati Radharani to come to give her that protection means that Rupa Goswami was feeling the scorching heat of the sun. So yes, Maharaj Dasharat, being a devout devotee of the Lord, was going through these difficulties. The Lord saw it, but he had his own plan. And at the end of the day, his plan was what was fulfilled and accomplished. So we all may learn from this that even though we are trying to become devotees of the Lord, and even those who have become devotees of the Lord, it is not in their interest to dictate to the Lord. We may ask from the Lord, we want this, and then we leave the results to the Supreme Lord. Being a devotee does not mean we don't ask or demand anything from the Lord at all. We do. But once we do, we leave the fulfillment in the hands of the Lord. And if he so wishes, he will make it happen. If he doesn't want to see it happen, it won't happen. And in either case, we should be satisfied. That will be my little answer to your wonderful question, Shri Hari Chakra Prabhu.
Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, thank you. And with that, we go to Anadi Nidana Prabhu. Please, you may unmute.
Hare Krishna, Dandava Pranams.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Okay. Thank you very much for the wonderful lecture. So, Prabhu, in one of Prabhupada's purport in Shrimad Bhagavatam, he said that even though Ravana caused so much atrocities, but they are much better than today's politicians. So my question here is, even at that time it was only one Ravana, but Mother Earth was going through so much trouble to the extent that he has to approach Lord Brahma. So in our days today, whereby we have so many Ravanas, what could be the state of Mother Earth now? And will she intend to approach Lord Brahma again? Because then to me, I could see that the feeling will be much better than that of today. Today will be much more than that of the other days. So what could be going through her mind now? That is my question. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you for the question. Yes, there are many Ravanas in this world today, even though those times we only had like one Ravana. But today's Ravanas are nowhere compared to the original Ravana. These Ravanas are like lightweight. They are like featherweight or straw weight. You know, in boxing, there are different categories based on weight and how strong the individuals are. So just like in boxing, if you are straw weight or you are lightweight, you're not going to fight a heavyweight. You fight an equal weight class. So these demons we have today, they are very lightweight, that if Mother Bhumi herself decides to discipline them, she herself can discipline them. So there is no need for Mother Bhumi to approach Indra, Brahma, Lord Shiva, and finally to Lord Vishnu for any intervention. Because these demons are very, very, very lightweight. Like I was saying, the Dani demons, they had so much knowledge about the Vedic teachings. Ravana and his associates knew so much about the Vedic literatures. They knew what to perform to get what. In today's world, these rascals know nothing about the scriptures, and they have no interest. And so they cannot even have any inkling of what is going to happen tomorrow. They don't even know what is going on in their own bodies. What to speak of what's going on in another person's body and what's going to happen tomorrow. But Ravana had all these mystical powers. He can fly from here to go to the abode of the demigods, of the devas, of the angels, and fight them and win them and even kick them out of their domain. Who can do that? So there is no need for the personality of this earth planet, the Bhumi, to cry to the Supreme Lord to handle these rift rafts. These demons we have today are very, very lightweight, that Mother Bhumi herself can handle them very swiftly and very easily. And as such, we see from time to time when Mother Bhumi wants to punish them, she will let some sort of earthquake happen. She will cause something like a tornado to happen. She will cause famine. she knows how to discipline these demons. No, somebody may say, I'm very smart. I want to steal this. I want to steal that. And Mother Bumi can easily cause such a person to have an ailment. And from that ailment, you will never recover. How are you going to enjoy all the wealth that you amassed? So these are minor demons. Srila Prabhupada referred to them as ravenous because of the ideology. The ideology is to enjoy this material world without Krishna. We want to enjoy Mata Sita, but we do not want to have anything to do with Sri Ram. And once we do that, the end result is you have to suffer. So that is why I believe that there is no Mother Bhumi going to seek any intervention from the Supreme Lord to deal with these small demons. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Small Sadheva.
Hare Krishna. Shivara Prabhu, you had something to share?
Actually, it was a mistake, but now that you
okay.
let me say something quickly.
Okay, please.
So, anyway, so many things, but let me just say this last one, the one concerning
Anadinidanam, yeah.
But so we have to understand that the killing of Ravana is a pastime. Coming to kill Ravana is a pastime. It's not that the Lord has to come, to come and kill demons. That is not his priority. So it's a pastime involving him and his associates, Jai and Vijay. So these are not actually ordinary demons. They took the role of demons. The Lord does not need to come to kill demons. The agents of the Lord can do that always. So when the Lord had to come, in the case of Ravana, Hiranyakashipu, this is a specific what is it called? Pastime of the Lord with his devotees. It's not that if there is problem, Bhumi has to start looking for help. Everything is in the arrangement of the Lord, how demons has to be taken care of. Agents of the Lord do that. So what happened between the Lord and Ravana and the rest of them, these are special arrangement for the Lord to come and spot on earth. So anyway, that is just a contribution. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for sharing that, Shivara Prabhu. Yes. Dr. Hassan, please, you may unmute.
Hare Krishna, Your Grace. Thank
Hare
you
Krishna,
for this
Prabhu.
wonderful and beautiful class. Please accept my humble respect, obeisances. All glory to Gurudev, all glory to Srila Prabhupada, and all glory to the assembly devotees. Your Grace, my question is, Sri Ram can prevent Ravana from capturing Mother Sita because Supreme God and is so powerful. So my question is, what is behind that? What was Krishna trying to teach us that allowing Mother Ravana to capture Mother Sita, and he has to go through all that difficulties, struggles to build a bridge and so on, so to rescue Mother Sita? What is the teachings behind that scenario? That is my question. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. That's a very beautiful question. Just like Shrimbhara Prabhu said, these are pastimes to teach the living entities how we can live our lives. And like I was saying, Lord Ramachandra was a king, and therefore he could have had any woman he wanted to have, but he stuck to his wife and took all risks, all difficulties to go look for the wife. So there are many, 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 many lessons we can learn from this experience. And that is, under no circumstance should a husband turn his back towards the wife. Under all circumstances, the man should defend and protect the wife, more especially if the wife is chaste. But regardless, the husband's major prime responsibility is to take care of the wife. No matter what difficulties one has to go through, no matter what challenges one has to go through, to give that protection and comfort to the wife, the husband has to do that. That's one lesson we can learn from that. Another lesson we can learn from that is that when a superior person tells you to do something, it is to our own advantage, to our own merit, that we do that, because we do not understand and know why he is asking us to do that. So in this case, Sri Lakshman was asked not to step away from that arena that had been done with the fiery object, which was giving protection to both Sita and Lakshman. But Mother Lakshmi, who is now called Sita, demanded Lakshman to go chase after this deer. And as soon as he left, then Ravana was able to enter in to capture Sita. Now we all know that Sita was captured. But the truth is that nobody other than Krishna can ever touch his eternal consort. Lakshmi, Sita, Radha, Parvati, nobody can, except the Lord himself. And therefore, it is said that this Sita that was captured by Ravana was not the real, true Sita. It is a pseudo Sita. It's a false Sita. Everything looks like Sita, but it's not the real Sita. The real Sita was hidden. So there are so many lessons to Krishna does one thing, but it represents so many things, and the learning lesson abounds. So to me, Krishna allowing these things to happen tell us that, one, when nature decides to take its role, there is nothing you can really do. It's going to happen. You have to learn to endure. You have to learn how to unwind the situation. It's just like Arichakra Prabhu's question. We shouldn't think that because we are devotees of the Lord, nothing evil can befall us, or no difficulties can befall us. No. The Pandavas are eternal associates of the Lord, and they were with the Lord directly, personally. Yet we can understand what sufferings, what amount of sufferings they went through. So if the Pandavas went through all the sufferings they went through, then what to speak of you and me? And the mere fact that we are serving Krishna and we go through some difficulties and we think that, oh no, this should not happen to me because I'm a servant of God, I'm a devotee of God, then we are mistaken. But for us as devotees of the Lord, we have to stand up for righteousness. In other words, we do not fight ourselves for ourselves, but whenever we find somebody doing something bad, something evil to another person, we become lion. We fight. That is who a devotee is. That is what the Kshatriyas do. The Kshatriyas are not just people who want to attack. They stand up for justice. And so if someone is doing something evil, they discipline that person. They discipline that person. So the Supreme Lord enacts pastime for his own enjoyment and at the same time to serve as a teaching lesson to the 11 entities, so that when we encounter these problems, we will know how to deal with the problems. Because every pastime the Supreme Lord performs are things that we are going to experience somehow or other in our lives. We may not experience it. Our brother may experience it. Our friend may experience it. And then how do we help? We learn from the pastimes of the Lord to come up with solutions so that we can live in this world and render our service to Krishna. And at the end of our lives, if we are fortunate, we go back to the Lord. Hare Krishna. And I did you have something else
Hare
to
Krishna,
share?
Your Grace. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much for this powerful and beautiful answers. I'm
Okay.
very much very grateful. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Very well.
Yeah, yeah, thank you.
Hare.
So, bro, this my question may sound controversial, but I think it's appropriate for this platform. See, as a devotees, it is said that whenever there is someone blaspheming another devotee, one has to do something, or you have to stand in for that devotee. So, in a situation whereby my guruma is chastising or blaspheming my guru right in presence of me, what should be my reaction as a disciple at that crucial moment? Should I leave the place, or what do I supposed to do as a disciple? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. That would be quite an unfortunate situation. But the scriptures give answers to every possible question we may have. The scriptures are the only source where we have more answers than questions. Anywhere else, we have more questions than answers. So the scriptures tell us exactly what to do in such a situation. If a devotee of the Lord is blasphemed, there are few things we are asked to do. One is to catch that particular individual and slash out his or her tongue from his or her buccal cavity, from his mouth. Of course, that is forbidden in this age of Kali. We cannot do that. The second option is to stand there, listen to the blasphemy, and pleasantly challenge that blasphemy in the eyes of the scriptures. Use the scriptures to defend yourself, to debate, and to argue why whatever that person is saying is wrong and is false and should not be repeated. If one cannot do that, then the best thing is to leave the place. Don't stand there and listen to the blasphemy. If you stand there and you listen to the blasphemy and you cannot do anything, you are condoning to the blasphemy, or you are absorbing all this blasphemy, which will build up in your body and at some point is going to implode. There is implosion and explosion. Explosion is outside when something pops out outside of yourself, like a volcanic eruption. It's explosion. And then when it's implosion, you absorb so much guilt, so much hatred in you that it gets to a point that you can no more contain it, retain it in your body, and then you burst out and you go crazy. And we don't want to go out crazy like that. So it's unfortunate that something like that would happen. But if it does happen, because we are in this Kali Yuga, the best two options left for us to do is to defend yourself through the eyes of the scriptures. If we cannot do that, we leave the place. What do we do after we've left the place? We have to talk to another person who is superior to us, who may be on the same level of that person who was blaspheming, to go to that particular person to address the situation. That is what we need to do. But under no circumstance should one stand idle and hear another devotee being blasphemed, or to speak of our own guru. It should never be tolerated. Tolerating that does not make you an advanced devotee. It makes you stupid. It means you are a stupid person. And devotees are very intelligent people. Under no circumstance should one stand idle hearing his guru being blasphemed. Hare Krishna. Anyone else with something to share? Well, we thank you all for being here. And on this note, we're going to humbly request each and every one of you to kindly unmute. And we all chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra to express our appreciation for giving the opportunity to be here to hear Srimad Bhagavatam. Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, you have something to say?
Yeah, I just wanted to draw your attention when you were answering Dr. Hassan's question.
Yeah.
When you said it was Ramachandra that Peter asked to go get the deer, not Lakshman. And then it was Lakshman who drew the line for Sita.
Yeah.
Because when Sita asked him to go look for Ramachandra, then he drew the line for her. So I just wanted to bring it to your attention.
Okay. All right. Thank you for the correction. Yes, thank you so much. So I hope the devotees take note of that. So on that note, dear devotees, we humbly request you all to unmute and we all chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Jai. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Hare Rama,
Hare
Rama,
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 Hare
Hare Hare.
Hare.
Mancha Kalpataruvyascha, Kripa Sindhuvya Evacha, Patitanam Bhavanebhyo, Vaishnavibhyo,
Vaishnavibhyo, Namo